who our speakers will be today. I can kick things off with myself, then I'll hand it over to Phil. So very nice to meet you all. My name's James. I'm a commercial sales specialist here at Transparity. My role is to help firms best adopt Microsoft technology. My role is around connecting our customers to the fantastic technical teams that we have here at Transparity. So that's me. I'll hand it over to Phil.
Nice to meet you all. So I'm Phil Robinson, Data Science Team Lead. It's my responsibility and my team's responsibility to essentially build custom AI projects, whether it be machine learning or vision or Azure OpenAI. We work with you as a team to be able to deliver those solutions and those platforms that can build out into the AI space and the ML space. So I'll hand over to Angellee, left to right.
Hi, I'm Angellee Small and I'm a legal counsel at Microsoft. I lead on contentious matters for the business and also spent lots of time in private practice, 11 years as a lawyer at Evershed Sutherland, so lead heavily on AI strategies for the legal industry as well.
Hi everyone, Jodie Rodgers. I'm the Chief AI Officer at Transparity, responsible for our business and go-to-market strategy. Govy?
Hey everyone, so Govy Thathor. I lead all things bid management here at Transparity. So yeah, kind of responding to all RFP tender type requests.
Ace, thank you guys. So just before we get into it, I just want to run through the agenda for today. So I'm just going to take the first 60 seconds for today's session, just to give you a very short overview of who Transparity are. I'll then hand it over to Jodie, who's going to discuss the broader opportunity of the recent developments with AI. Then swiftly moving over to Angellee, who's going to give you an overview of how she is using AI within the legal team at Microsoft. And then to wrap up the core content for today, I shall hand it over to Phil and Govy to provide some insight into some of the technology that's actually available within Microsoft, and then bringing that to life with some specific legal demos. And then just at the back end of the session, to wrap things up, I'll just be running through some of the funding opportunities around AI and how you can get started with your AI journey. So just a very quick overview of who we are as a business. Ultimately, we help firms best deploy and use Microsoft technology. We're in a fortunate position to be the UK's most accredited Microsoft partner. This puts us in a really unique position when it comes to AI, as yes, we have the ability to build great data and AI solutions, but also we can have the necessary considerations when it comes around to the implications of data security, cybersecurity, adoption and change, app development. So we can really support you across that full AI journey. So as I say, I wanted to keep it a really brief overview today of who Transparity are. So I shall now hand it over to Jodie, who's going to run through where we're seeing AI going in the market.
Thanks, James. Now, before we get into specific use cases and the exciting demos, I just wanted to take 5 minutes to touch on the different elements that make up the wider kind of AI opportunity. So I think it's really hard to believe that actually this Saturday will mark an entire 2 years since the launch of ChatGPT. And ever since those 2 years, I think AI has been kind of grabbing news headlines every day, and the technology is still evolving really quickly, with even more capabilities announced last week at Microsoft's conference Ignite. And the reason that we see why generative AI has really kind of taken the world by storm is because they've broken through with consumers. So AI doesn't feel like tech for techies anymore, and there's a much kind of lower barrier to entry than with your traditional machine learning and data science. So people are using generative AI now as part of their everyday lives, whether that's to kind of generate ideas for your meals for the week, get personalized recommendations when you're planning a holiday, or just to better understand kind of complicated topics like your child's homework at school. And because of this, your employees will be wanting to consume these experiences in the tools that they use each day at work. And your customers will come to expect AI capabilities in the services that you're offering them. And whilst I think there's kind of no denying that the technology is very much here and it's real, for me, the most exciting aspect of this is the real kind of tangible impact that this technology is now driving. And today, alongside Microsoft, we're going to walk you through various examples of this to kind of really make it tangible and bring it to life for you. So later in the presentation, we'll show you a short video on how Clifford Chance have been using technology like Azure OpenAI to package together different steps within a workflow to produce a whole new way of delivering what their clients need. To take a step back, in terms of kind of Microsoft's strategy with AI, you'll see that they're really infusing it across their entire portfolio, and you'll hear them refer to things called co-pilots. And what a co-pilot is it's really your personal AI assistant for work, which is grounded in your work content like emails, meetings, and documents. And co-pilots are very much going to be referred to as a kind of user interface for AI moving forward, the UI for AI, very snappy. And more recently, there's been a lot of discussion around agents. Now, agents take the power of generative AI a step further because they're not just assisting you, but agents can actually work alongside you, either connected to a co-pilot or actually even more autonomously on your kind of behalf, so doing things for you. They can do a range of things from responding to questions to more complicated and kind of multi-step assignments, and that's where people are really starting to see the value. So also, what sets them apart from a co-pilot is the fact that agents can actually be tailored to a particular expertise. So you could create an agent that knows everything about your company's offerings. It could then draft detailed responses to your customers' queries, but it could also even take it one step further, and you could have an agent that actually fulfills your bookings and actually helps with your scheduling. And by having this kind of buy, extend, and build approach, Microsoft are really catering to kind of every need in terms of, on the left-hand side, they're having AI infused into the products that we all know and love, like Microsoft Teams, and the features that are like the transcription and summarization. But as you move along to the right-hand side, they're actually giving you the ability to extend and customize these capabilities to allow you to actually infuse them into your own business processes using your own data and not just data within your Microsoft 365 tenancy, to create these kind of more customized agent applications. Now, one of the things that we hear from a lot of our clients is that given the amount of AI technology that's now on offer, and also the amount of possible uses, it can be really challenging to actually know what to prioritize and where to get started. So to build a foundation for AI success, Microsoft have identified and broken down these 5 drivers of organizational readiness that are needed to deliver value with AI. So starting with what I think is kind of the most important, that organization and culture. What are your long-term ambitions as an organization, and what changes do you need to make to your operating model, your resources, and your company culture to encourage things like continuous learning with exec sponsorship? So this AI journey is really not just one and done, but it's an iterative process where you need to kind of have this growth mindset as an organization. Next is your business strategy. And again, this is super important to make sure that AI and your AI strategy is not siloed. It needs to be aligned to your wider kind of organizational strategy, the business goals, and those outcomes that you're looking to deliver on. So we need to make sure that you're prioritizing the use cases that are going to add real business value that you can actually measure. Next is AI experience, and this is all about that kind of skill set piece. What AI expertise do you need to be able to build repeatable processes that are going to create this sustainable value? And there's a big part in here around where do you buy, where do those off-the-shelf solutions kind of give you what you need versus where do you build, and where do you actually look at partnering with organizations like Transparity who can bring that kind of technical value and help you on that longer term journey. AI governance, and this is really around what are those processes, controls, and the accountability structures that you actually need to govern things like data privacy, security, and the responsible ethical use of AI. And you'll see that AI policy is now kind of a huge thing here, and having that internal AI policy that lets your employees know what, as an organization, you want to do and what's not okay for you as an organization and culturally aligned with your values for AI. And then last but not least is that kind of under that foundational piece around your technology and your data strategy. Is your technical foundation in order to be able to take advantage of AI? Everyone would have heard that classic kind of terminology around rubbish in, rubbish out, and data governance and quality has become more important than ever before. And you'll see at the top of this slide, there's a link where you can go and access this research and white paper and actually see a lot more detail of each of these pillars and then the maturity curve for each of them. So if you're starting from the beginning, it'll show you kind of what those practical next steps that can help you to build maturity in these areas. In today's session specifically, we're going to focus mostly on the business and technology strategy pillars. And many of you, if not all of you, probably have a lot of ideas right now, and understanding where to focus is really job number one. Like I said, it's important to kind of identify, assess, and prioritize those use cases that are not only feasible, but can also demonstrate business value fairly quickly. And through the clients and organizations that we're working with, we're really seeing 4 distinct areas of opportunity where AI can be leveraged to deliver impact. Most organizations are starting to look internally first, and they're thinking about how to make AI real for their people. So AI can really enrich your employee experience. It can allow your employees to find and check information more quickly and accurately, and you'll see some demonstrations of that today. And it can also help you to generate new content and suggest creative ideas. Then there are lots of opportunities and challenges across that kind of customer engagement journey. And we really think that AI will reinvent this experience, and that every connection with your customers should become something that actually accrues in increasing value in your relationship with them, because you'll be able to have that ability to reason over kind of every single interaction. Next, I'd say actually this is probably like the second most popular area that we're seeing AI being used, is around transforming those business processes. AI is really good at things like document processing, auto transcription, translation, and knowledge mining and knowledge management. And it can really help you to kind of streamline and make those processes more efficient, whilst also giving you that ability to make the best possible decisions in the interest of your organization. And then finally, I think AI is going to empower kind of every organization to become more innovative, and it's going to give you those tools to differentiate your business and help you to gain that kind of competitive advantage. So to bring this to life, I'm really, really excited to hand you over to Angellee, who's going to talk you through Microsoft AI kind of legal cultural transformation, but also demonstrate kind of some of the value that they're already realizing. So I'll stop sharing and let you take over. Perfect.
Thanks, Jodie. Hi, like I said, I'm Angellee, and I am part of Microsoft's legal team in the UK. I have the privilege of leading our contentious and compliance efforts, and these are areas where we are leveraging AI to its fullest capability. Before this role, I was deeply involved in product development as a product counsel in our Azure for Operator business. So in that regard, it means I've been exposed to how we develop our products, including our AI products. And, I can attest to the fact that a lot of what we say about our products in terms of how we protect our customers, how we handle data, etc., we live by that. So in terms of today, I'm excited to share with you how AI is revolutionizing our processes within Saliha at Microsoft. I think as legal professionals, we know that, we are increasingly needing to handle more complex workloads, not just in speed and volume, but also in complexity, especially in the regulatory arena. And what we have found at Microsoft is that to meet these demands without increasing resources, technology, especially AI, is essential. And we've also found that within Microsoft, it's those departments and those areas of Microsoft that prioritize their data strategy, ensuring access to quality data, that are really at the forefront of our journey. And, we are a legal department like any law firm or in-house legal department. We have similar concerns around the types of tools that we leverage in the department, and ensuring that we are complying with our legal and professional obligations. So I think before we delve into how we're using it within the department, I think it's crucial to just share with you why we trust the tools, and why some of our customers trust it in the legal space as well. So our trust is built on 4 primary pillars that underpin development of trustworthy AI at Microsoft. First, it's our responsible AI journey, which is at the heart of all our development. Like I said, I was a product counsel, and I know this is true. We've centered all our AI initiatives on core principles such as fairness, reliability and safety, privacy and security, inclusiveness, transparency and accountability, all principles that are reflected in any government regulations that you look at on AI. These are practical guidelines that ensure the responsible use of our services. And to support this, because we do know it's challenging with new technologies, we have committed to sharing tools like our AI impact assessment template to help guide customers on their own responsible AI journey. The second thing that underscores our trust is privacy being the cornerstone of our AI services. We design all our AI solutions to comply with our enterprise privacy commitments. These are commitments you'll already be familiar with if you use Microsoft's products, starting with the principle that a customer's data is that customer's data. And third is our AI customer commitments, and particularly our customer copyright commitment. We were one of the first AI providers to provide contractual assurance, which state that when you use our paid for Gen AI services, we will defend most lawsuits brought by a third party claiming that the content it generates infringes copyright. And the other thing that's important in terms of us trusting any AI solution is security, which is paramount in everything we do at Microsoft. Trust of our customer, of the industry, is vitally important. So our Secure First initiative is a comprehensive approach to safeguarding customer data, ensuring business continuity in the face of evolving threats. I think like us, all large organizations out there, particularly knowledge workers, are at evolving risk of security concerns. And so our initiatives are built on 3 core principles: secure by design, secure by default, and secure operations. And like I said, I'll stress again, I know this to all be true in terms of how we approach our products, how we approach our services, because of the role I played previously, because of the fact that I know a product won't launch, it won't go through the door unless we're happy with all of that, and that we're not breaking any commitments or promises that we make to our customers. And I think one thing to take away from this is that when we say your data is your data, and this is all backed up in our terms, it means that your data is private, it's secure, and in an AI context, it's not used to train our AI models. It stays under your control with full transparency and protection, and that's all backed by our contractual commitments. So for us, our products, that's the reason we trust them and we use them in legal. What I would say is we are using other products as well, and that's a kind of those requirements are the same kind of requirements that we would look at when we vet any other Gen AI products. And then in terms of how we are using it at Microsoft, so I'm part of a department called Saliha, which includes legal, government affairs specialists, regulatory specialists, and a whole host of other professions. It's about 2,000 of us, over 54 countries. So, that's like a medium-sized law firm in a very large organization. And like all other organizations or legal departments, we have the same kind of pressures of delivering more quicker. And so we welcome any technology that's going to improve how we do how we deliver to our services, both in terms of speed and quality of what we're delivering to our customers. We started our AI journey by getting everybody involved. So we started with a cross-department initiative called AI for Saliha, where we use people from within Saliha to consider how we may leverage, AI in Saliha for everybody's benefit. So the initiatives start by looking at business, technical, and cultural transformation to help us harness the power of AI to enhance our operational efficiencies and increase our individual and organizational productivity. at Microsoft, we are assessed based on our impact for the organization. So again, anything that we can do as a individual and as an organization to be more impactful is always welcome. So then we started looking at how can we use large language models. And we started by setting up a secure implementation of GPT with several initial suggested use cases in the legal department. And we encourage everyone to just have a go, experiment, think about what they do, what they could do better, where technology could enable them. And that's how we started our efforts, just giving everyone the technology and say, have a go at, playing with it. And then we narrowed things down with a crowdsourcing effort. Now that you've had a chance to play with it, can you think about some use cases that won't just benefit you, but will benefit us as a department? And from that we came up with 250 or so submissions, and that enabled us to just kind of narrow down our focus in terms of how we will use Gen AI within Saliha. But I think that approach of starting with the problem and then coming up with the tech solution to solve it, we found that to have been a really impactful approach in terms of how we approach our journey. So then we looked at how we can use it now based on all that data and all that feedback we've had. And the first pillar was around advise. And I mentioned we are across 50 plus countries. So we thought about then how can we combine all this knowledge that we all have across these different areas and put that together to improve how we advise our clients and how we enable self-service within Saliha as well. And from that, we came up with their solutions, like, a bot to advise on, say, HR matters. And then we looked at transactions and what we do contractually. And like lots of large legal organizations, we handle large volumes of sales and procurement contracts. So we thought about then how we can use not just Copilot, for example, but generally Gen AI technologies to improve and simplify the contract management lifecycle, making it less labor intensive for us. And for that, we've explored both our own products as well as other Gen AI products. As a product counsel at the time, probably 12 years ago when we started looking at this, I know that we immediately had impact when we started doing or using Gen AI tools to help with our procurement workloads. And it just meant we were then using these tools to review and draft contracts and respond and negotiate far more quickly than we could without the technology. And then we looked at compliance. And like I said at the start, this is an area where we have the most kind of repeat work, similar queries, but slightly different contexts. And therefore we thought about, how can we use technology to monitor and understand the regulatory landscape and improve compliance with less costs, delivering consistent responses faster? Because like I said, we're getting the same question. So, how do we do that more quickly without the manpower that's we traditionally needed to do that? And again, so we've developed solutions to enable us to do that using some of our Gen AI technologies. As I said at the outset, what we found is that data is what made the difference and how we approach that. So what we have done then, with all our efforts, we've started developing what we call the Saliha Data Factory. And part of this process, we'll be using, we are using M365 Copilot in our day-to-day jobs. It's kind of second nature to a lot of us now. We've had access from the outset. We've been using it for all sorts of use cases. We didn't have any kind of strict guidelines about what we use it for. We got ourselves comfortable with certain aspects like privilege and confidentiality. So we've been using it quite broadly for a long time. And that's now integrated quite seamlessly into our day-to-day work. It's kind of like, some will say like spell check for us. We simply cannot operate without it because we've become so accustomed to it, and it enables us in so many different ways. I mentioned our Data Saliha Factory, which is what underpins all our AI initiatives. And for us, we saw that as a crucial first step, because I said we are a large organization. We are over 50 odd countries, and therefore data was siloed, so we needed our AI tools to be able to access that and, you know, reason over that data effectively. So we are still building out that Saliha data factory to help streamline our data, but, you know, that's an area where we've spent a lot of time to just get that right. As we all know, AI is built on data, and that Saliha data factory for us represents a better way to just manage and reuse our data to power all our AI solutions. And what we with that, what we have done, one great initiative we have is we have various arrangements with law firms, for example, where we consistently get legal advice on areas like regulatory issues. And sometimes what's changing is the context, but the advice is probably going to be the same. So what we have done is we have collated all that advice that we've had over a period, and we've, you know, put that into a solution. So it means that now if we have a question on a certain kind of recurring issue, we can go into that, we can use, you know, a Gen AI solution on top of that data, try to understand what the last advice we've had on that is. And it doesn't mean we're no longer using, say, outside counsel, we still are, but, you know, we go to outside counsel with a much more informed starting position, which is helpful for both them and us in terms of navigating whatever the issue is on that matter. So yeah, we've already seen benefits from just getting ourselves organized from a data respect. So with all this data that we are organizing, we will of course leverage our commercial AI solutions like Copilot, Fabric, Bing, Enterprise Chat, and Azure OpenAI. And for us, I think a fundamental part of this journey was around cultural transformation. It certainly is not just about the data, the tools, and the processes. We've centralized the human elements too, because we knew that investing in that and getting everybody along on the journey would pay dividends. So we have adopted an AI-ready mindset across the organization, which I think as lawyers, we are slightly more conservative to lots of new things. So, you know, we thought it was essential, and, you know, our senior leadership was kind of like, we're going to say it, we're going to do it, we're going to immerse in it. And that's been the approach all along. So we see it as more than just tools, like use Copilot, use these kind of, you know, Copilot studio solutions. We see it as more of a profound shift in how we operate and make decisions and engage with technology and the business. And so our journey has included both the business and the cultural transformation, rethinking processes and shaping behaviors and mindsets, which has enabled lots of the great ideas that we've had to come to the front. We encourage everyone to participate in this transformation, not just, you know, a select few. We have catalysts. We've got all sorts of roles within the organizations at every level of the organization that's enabling people to do this. And it does mean, you know, we're actively saying, go ahead and go away and kind of think about how you do things, reevaluate your workflows, identify inefficiencies, and then embrace AI and other technologies to, you know, to help yourself. And so we just think this cultural change point and bringing everybody along on the journey and fostering that environment of curiosity, openness to new technology is critical. We are also just, for us, we are open to not just learning from within Saliha, but we actively engage and align with our peers within the industry as well to ensure to learn what they're doing, and what else we can do to be even better and leverage these technologies for even greater impact. We have found that Copilot has delivered significant impact for us. So we did an internal research where we had people do realistic tasks. I think one of the tasks was, there was a speech for Satya Nadella, and we had, you know, people with Copilot looking at that and identifying issues, and then people without doing the same. And what we found, that those with Copilot, you know, they were able to complete that task 30% faster, 32% faster, and with 20.3% greater accuracy than those without. So we have seen measurable impact from leveraging Copilot. And like in terms of, like I said, our cultural transformation, we have embraced and encouraged a large number of uses across our various different applications, from Teams to Word to PowerPoint. I know lots of my colleagues are raving about things like how they use Copilot for presentations, for example, and to be more impactful and effective with their communications. So lots and lots of great use cases that we have internally. And don't just take our word for it. DLA, for example, has recently shared their Copilot journey. They talk about how they use it for drafting documents, research and insights, client communication, project management, and training and development. For me, that's lots of core legal work, but also lots of the soft skill sides that us lawyers usually need some support with. And I think a year on for us internally in terms of our Copilot journey, we are very much with the industry in terms of where we are be in this new agentic space. And I don't think we could put it better than Clifford Chance. So I'll just share with you their take on how Gen AI is helping them to streamline their workflows and enhance productivity. So my parting thought comes from our Chief Legal Officer, Jose Nobar. And as Jodie said at the start, I think this aligns, is that, Gen AI and AI is here, it's now, and it's, we all just need to get on the journey with it. So as he said, adoption of AI is not a luxury for legal departments, it's a necessity. And I think critically for us lawyers, it's not about replacing us. It doesn't replace human judgment, but it can work with us and for us to be better and to make us better and faster at our work. So yeah, if you have any questions, happy to take them, but thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Angellee.
Angellee, there are a couple of questions in the chat. I don't know if you would be happy to answer them in writing or you would prefer to answer them. Are you okay answering them in the chat? Would that work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Awesome.
So thank you, Angellee. That was wonderful. So I'm going to take over for a second and just talk about some of the technology that's available to us. So if I just take control for a second and stop sharing so I can share our presentation. So what I thought I'd do off the back of the discussions that Jodie and Angellee have put forward to you, what I thought I'd do is give you a quick overview of the Azure AI technology stack. Now, the slide that Jodie showed already has a massive array of AI technology available, and what Microsoft have done through various different platforms and various different systems have given access. They've given access to a vast array of complex and useful technology in an environment which not only means you can test it, but also means you can build highly complex customizable models and customizable systems using their output. So that prior to, now, some of you may have already seen from Microsoft Ignite last week, the announcement of something called Azure AI Foundry. Now, what this does is collate all of that capability and all of that technology into one single place, so you can really run quite complex solutions just out of Azure AI Foundry, or even if you've got no ML expertise or AI expertise, allows you to try a lot of that technology too. And all of the technology stack and all of that capability is run through that secure, responsible AI foundation, and built with cost controls and security controls and everything, all within Azure, that really give you a really powerful experience to be able to build not only complex ones with us or with other people, but then also just have exposure and just to see whether that capability is useful to you. And it's got a wide array of models and endpoints that allow you to do things like vision projects, or speech projects, or language projects, or use Azure OpenAI, or even Copilot Studio as well. And what that really, and I'm not going to go through all of these in high detail because I'll probably bore some of you to tears. However, you've probably seen the output of a lot of this technology in either in Teams or in other areas in Copilot. And what Microsoft do is not only give it you that's to take that by extend and build approach, gives you it all in something like Copilot, which would include things like sort of Azure AI Vision and speech with presenter recognition, or with speech to text or text to speech with transcription. But then you also get a more modern framework through Copilot with the combination of Azure AI Search, Azure AI Language, and Azure OpenAI Service. And there are a couple of the demos that you're going to see in a little while from myself and from Gavi are using this combination of technology to be able to produce something called a RAG approach. So some of you may be familiar with that and some of you may not. RAG essentially means retrieval augmented generation. And because Azure OpenAI is such a massively powerful model, foundational model, what retrieval augmented generation does is grounds that model within your data, a lot like what Copilot does. Now the access to the raw, not only that buy technology, but also that build technology allows you to essentially develop any AI system that you need in a secure and controlled way with all the cost controls I've already mentioned. And all of that technology can be found within Azure AI Foundry now, and give you access to the to play around with it or to build out some complicated project. Now to and what because of all that capability and because of all of that technology, what we've done at Transparity is build a number of solution accelerators in order to get you going into the into various different areas very, very quickly, with the idea being that some of these will be delivered in a short space of time from a proof of value, and then onto more deployment options further on, which I'm going to leave for Jodie to talk about towards the end. But just to touch on a couple of these, there are just the ones highlighted. So intelligent conversational agents is exactly the same as it's sort of exactly the same as some of that capability that you get within Copilot. But what it really does is speaks to your business challenge specifically. So that Clifford Chance video where they're talking about Copilot Studio, or Copilot in Microsoft 365. If you had an opportunity, or if you had a use case which required you to do a highly specific task, then that intelligent conversational agent solution accelerator could be used, and we could work with you to be able to implement that in your business and integrate that with your existing systems. Another one I wanted to touch upon was about process and workflow automation. So that leads into that agentic approach and that agentic modeling that was mentioned already. And that's really about using a combination of that technology I showed previously into a process, a multi-stage process, which can give you a complex output and work alongside you. So that's just a quick overview of some of the solution accelerators, but actually we've got, as you can see from the slide, we've got a number of others, and we can also share some of our website content, which has got a summary of them all. And Jodie's been doing an amazing job of sharing that through social media, if any of you have seen already, and we can share all that afterwards. But what I really wanted to do is to essentially show you a combination of those, and myself and Govy are going to show you a couple of examples whereby that RAG, that sort of retrieval augmented generation technology, can be used and implemented quickly within your business. Now, the conversational agent solution accelerator is what, as I mentioned, is going to be the one that I'm going to run through. I've got a short clip that I'm going to talk over, but essentially what you're about to see is a conversational agent which can ingest documents. So in the example I'm going to give, which I'll show you in a second, ingest documents and then provide a complicated output and delivered anywhere within your environment in a very short space of time. Yeah, so thank you, Susie. So if I just quickly share this. Now this is our small demo that we built to be able to show off this technology, and this using a fictitious law firm, Jason Roberts, Vikander and Stone Associates. But essentially what this has, as I mentioned, is a number of policies that sit in the background that are required by sort of law firms such as yourselves to ingest and to understand. And not only can you provide any level of context documents underneath, but you can also start building out some custom input prompts and custom system prompts. So some of you may have come across the idea of a system prompt already, but essentially what that means is it tells that foundational model what it's supposed to be doing. And by exposing some of that underlying technology, we can then therefore tell your agent exactly what it's supposed to be doing at any point, and also layer in other technologies such as the AI search, which can extract key content from documents and store that separately, or to add in other components such as speech to text straight in. Text to speech straight in, so for accessibility options or vision capability as well. Another small example where this sort of technology can be combined is also with translation. So if you've got a multinational company, you've got translations coming through, or sort of translations required, whether it be legal documents or otherwise. This sort of combination of technology can really can be combined together to fit exactly the solution that you need. I'm going to hand over to Govy now to run through an actual real life implementation of this technology.
Awesome, thank you, Phil. So yeah, I've just as a quick background, so I've been working in kind of bids and proposals for over 10 years now, and through that time I've seen a number of challenges faced by not only myself but a number of peers as well. I have many peers who work across the legal industry, and so some of these will be fairly common to them as well. Challenges such as customers are procuring using RFX activity, so RFI, RFP, and so on more than ever. And there are actually some industries reporting now that over 40% of their annual revenues are driven by this particular procurement method. RFPs are just becoming increasingly more complex with more questions to answer and requiring kind of ever increasing levels of subject matter expert input. And that means, taking those SMEs away from billable work and then having them to actively be involved in pre-sales activity. Another challenge is, due to regulatory requirements, new customer onboarding processes are just becoming more and more convoluted, with a number of questions that are now needed to be answered on extremely long, new vendor forms. And so, taking all of these challenges, I've been quite fortunate in that I work at a great organization where we can kind of support and meet these head on, and I can leverage some of the great minds internally at Transparity. We've been able to build a really exciting tool which maybe not kind of completely kind of alleviates those pain points, but really kind of helps and supports and enables our bid function to be able to operate more smoothly and efficiently. And we've been able to build and deliver a tool using AI that now kind of gets beyond procurement and allows you to score your answers. I'm going to kind of go through that in a bit more detail. We're able to utilize AI to write complex answers to technical questions without the need of an SME. And that first draft is always the most difficult draft to write, and it can usually take the longest to write as well. And we can reduce that first draft time by about 80% now, which is fantastic. The tool has the ability to be able to write personalized executive summaries, which are really specific to any given customer, their challenges and their business objectives. And I'll go into that in a bit more detail as well. And I think really importantly, it provides accurate and up-to-date information and is a single point of truth for content across our organization. And so, for example, if you're responding to a new customer onboarding form, which may be about 300 questions long, which is something that I had to do very recently, that could have taken about 3 or 4 days of speaking to multiple people across your organization to find, that really frustrating information that, is never housed in a central spot. And I was able to answer that form within an hour, greatly reducing the effort and the time required to kind of, meet some of these customer requirements just a lot quicker. And so I just wanted to jump into a little bit about some of the specific use cases that I mentioned there. So executive summary writing. So executive summaries are an extremely important part of any RFP process. And this is the case whether you're working for a technology company or for a legal organization. And when I mean they're complex, it's you're not only kind of summarizing what you are proposing, but really what you want to be doing is showing how your organization is able to understand and then also align to your customers as well. And so you may be doing things such as trawling through annual reports, reviewing the customer's website, their about us page, their sustainability goals, and a number of things. The other thing that you'll also be doing is keeping in mind your proposal and what you are proposing. And so within our tool, what we've been able to do is we've been able to kind of build a capability which allows you to upload things like annual reports, specific links from a customer's website, and also the proposal that you may have been preparing into the tool. And then using the tool, we have kind of created and crafted an executive summary structure already. And then by combining that content, it's able to kind of give you a really great starting point of personalized executive summaries, which talk to how the two organizations can work together. And this has been a really powerful starting point to kind of pull out that information, which, like I said, can sometimes take hours or days to kind of get to. The other thing that I wanted to really highlight is around that RFX scoring. So we working in this space and working with customers, each customer has their own scoring matrix for how they score RFP answers. So sometimes customers score them from a 1 to 5, a 1 to 10. They'll have different definitions of what a top score looks like from customer to customer as well. So within this particular tool, we've been able to build in the capability to be able to not only score the question, but you score it based on the customer's given scoring matrix. So what you're able to do is upload the customer scoring matrix and then copy and paste in the question and the answer that you're providing that customer. What that then does is, utilizing all of that information, the tool is able to give you a score, but not only just give you the score of your answer, but it gives recommendations on how you can improve it. So if you've scored a 7, it will say you've scored a 7, you may want to think about X, Y, and Z to really kind of improve your score to get to that all-important 10. And that's really important when you're kind of dealing with a procurement team-led exercise, and you need to get past that first pass to be able to have a conversation with a customer. And so these are just, a couple of unique cases and kind of, just things that this particular tool can do. And I'm happy to kind of talk about this endlessly with anyone that may want to kind of down the line. But that's just a little sneak peek of the tool. So I'll now hand back over to Jodie.
You're on mute, Jodie.
I pressed one button to take control, didn't press the button to unmute. Classic, always happens. Thanks, Gabby. I think it's really great to see kind of the tangible applications of AI in use and actually make it kind of resonate with use cases that are applicable across the legal industry as well. In terms of next steps, we just wanted to showcase, I guess, some of the offerings that are available through Transparity. We completely understand that all of you are at different stages of your journey with AI. And for those of you who are at those kind of early stages, the approach that we recommend is really this kind of AI discovery workshop, which is really envisioning design-led thinking type approach, which, like Angellee said earlier, kind of brings all of those different people from across the business together so that they feel like they're inputting into that AI strategy, and it can also help with kind of getting people on board and making sure they feel bought into kind of the journey that you're going on. This works best as a kind of one-day in-person workshop where you bring your SMEs from different line of businesses together who really understand those business processes and workflows. Usually we recommend kind of 3 or 4 different line of businesses, but there's various ways of doing this. So we can do it across multiple days, for example. But we bring our AI practice and that kind of AI technology SME capability to really help you to identify what is feasible after going through those kind of line of business workflows and processes, and where AI could actually be infused and also kind of automation be infused to really add value. What we find is that it's important to start with those business challenges that you're trying to solve for before getting into what that technology solution would look like. To one, make sure you're investing in the areas that are going to have longevity, but also that you're investing in those areas that are going to have ROI. They're going to add business value. You're going to be able to create that business case and get the buy-in for that kind of longer AI roadmap. We then work to prioritize the use cases that have been identified based on how they align with your overall business strategy, but also based on the feasibility and the amount of effort that would be required to actually get that use case into production, taking a look at, do you have those kind of technology foundations in order? We then also validate those proof of values, and we can also provide you with a statement of work, potentially leveraging funding from Microsoft, which James will walk you through in a second. But it shows you kind of what this looks like from upfront implementation costs, but also from an ongoing running cost. For those of you that have already identified your use cases and you have kind of potential prototypes that you're looking to move forward with, we also offer support from a proof of value perspective, but also an ongoing kind of deployment and retainer perspective. So I'll hand you back to James now, who can talk you through kind of the wider offering.
Ace, thank you very much, Jodie. So yeah, I hope from today's session there's some inspiration to start or maybe even accelerate your AI journey. And I think Jodie's touched on some really good ways to do that already. But we wanted to ensure that we had a broader spectrum of next steps that accommodate each firm or maybe individual lawyer who's attending today, irrespective of where you are on that AI journey. So from going left to right, from the far left on the events, we're running a series of events, one of which being an AI Foundation's breakfast roundtable in London. So for those with more of a strategic oversight on AI within their firm or business. And for those with more a technical interest in the technology, we have multiple Azure OpenAI hackathons and workshops running over the course of next quarter. And one of the follow-ups from us will be to send over those links. So if any are of interest, please do sign up. We'd love to see you there. Again, as Jodie's already really touched on, for those who want help formulating that AI strategy or starting to define those first use cases, that's where Jodie's workshop really comes into play. If you're interested in some of the demos shown today, maybe you already have some use cases in mind, you have the opportunity to access Microsoft's Innovate funding program. This is something that we apply for on an individual basis, but is a fantastic funding program that we've been leveraging a lot over the past year. In fact, I think we're the number one partner for leveraging this program. And ultimately, you have the opportunity to access $10,000 to fund a deployment of a first use case, and a further $5,000 to $50,000 to fund production-ready AI apps. This is a program which helps take that first step on your AI journey without putting up that initial capital investment. So it really gives you the opportunity to prove some value back to the business. And of course, if you're more interested in that off-the-shelf, or as Jodie referenced at the start, that kind of buy rather than build process, you have access to fully funded programs looking at evaluating the value of Microsoft 365 Copilot, or what maybe bespoke Copilots could do within your firm with our Copilot Studio workshop. And then finally, just to wrap things up, I appreciate that underlying all of those different steps, there's of course a concern around security and data governance. I think there's some questions in the chat today about it. And so for those that need to take that first step around data governance and security, there's a separate pot of funding up to $10,000 to help assess your current data security posture, so that with full confidence when you take that first step into AI that you have the data security in mind. So that is all the content today. So thank you so much for joining. Please drop a vote in our poll that should be in the chat window now. For those that would like a recording, one will be made available later this week. Please do drop any more questions that you might have in the chat. We're not going to have time to answer them today, but we'll ensure to follow up with them across the course of tomorrow. Massive thank you to Angellee and Saliha for helping us organise this. Also, thank you to the rest of the co-hosts too. And we really look forward to hearing your feedback. Thank you.